applying directly is the best way. For those questions, most of them are just like, so they could ask you like other clinical questions like, oh, what she can do venipuncture, tick. She can do cannulation, tick.
Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. Today I have another guest in the house. Yeah, so I'll let my guest to introduce herself before we go ahead to talk about what this video is going to be about. So my guest, you're welcome to my channel. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, first off, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to be on your channel. And hi everyone, my name is Debbie, Nurse Debbie, and yeah.
Today we're going to be discussing a lot today. So Debbie is also a graduate of VSA. Yes, and yeah, she didn't mention it in the intro, but you just have to watch this video till the end because you have a whole lot to learn. So today we're going to be discussing about Debbie's journey from Poland to UK, and a lot has changed because the last time I had an interview with someone from VSA, I've been trying to have some interview with someone from VPU, but I don't know, it seems they are so busy, but hopefully one day I get to invite one of them on this channel. But now we have another VSA student, so she's going to be letting us know the changes about NMC application in details, and also she has a YouTube channel. So if you have a personal question, I'm also going to leave it in the description section, so you go check out her YouTube channel, follow her journey. So now we'll go ahead with the first question for today. Could you tell us the year you got admission, what was your duration of study at VSA, and when you graduate?
Okay, so I started in VSA in September. Actually, it was supposed to start in September, but it was delayed to October. So I started in October 2019, and I graduated in July 2022. Yeah. So that's 3 years basically. So it was a 3 years program.
Wow, so you're among those that graduates of recent. That was like a few months back.
Yeah, just last year. Yeah.
So I'll go ahead with the next question. How long did it take you to get your after graduation? Because I'm hearing some rumor that it takes like 2 months or a month.
For us, actually, in my own year, it was we got it on the same day. Actually, we got a copy, but we got the Polish copy on that day. So we didn't have like the English copy. We only had the Polish one. We didn't have our transcript as well. So we had to wait for like a month. But if I'm right, if my calculation is right, it was 28 days. Yeah. So let's just say a month. So we had to wait for a month to get the transcript and the English version. So they gave us 3 copies of the transcript and 3 copies of the certificates. 2 in English, not 1 in English and 2 in Polish.
Okay, so the certificate, is it VSA that issue it out, or is going to be from like the board of Ministry of Education?
Oh, it's from VSA. It's from your university. Yeah, so your university gives you that, but there's another certificate. Maybe that's what you're trying to ask about. There's another certificate that shows that you are actually a nurse that has finished from Poland, and you can register in Poland, but you are not registered. So that one you get it from the Nursing and Midwifery Council in Poland.
Okay, so that brings us to the next question. Did you search for employer yourself, or you went through agents?
Okay, so for me, I've explored both ways actually. So I used agents, and I also used the online website, which is NHS Jobs. So I got jobs actually through the agents and also with the online website, which is the NHS website. But then it was now me deciding on which one to choose, because there are pros and cons to all this stuff as well. Like if you go with the agency, you might have to stay with them for a while, or like you would have to pay a certain amount if you want to leave them. But then if you go directly, you're not tied to them. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, I personally, I applied directly, and the job I'm doing right now, I applied directly. But then I had other offers, and I got other jobs through agents. So you can go both ways.
Okay, which one is faster?
I would say, from my own experience, I would say direct. Like going directly to NHS jobs, yeah, is faster than going through agents, because the agents, yes, so let me just give you a little bit about this. So the thing is, if you go through agents, the agents would have actually get you a job, no doubt. But
Mm-hmm.
they might not get you what you want. One. Two, the hospital is actually paying the agents to recruit. Yeah. So they have to, there are so many things involved, like so many things involved that you might not know about. So there might be some delays that you don't know about. Maybe for example, let's say the hospital has not paid them. I mean, you wouldn't know that because you're applying through them. Do you get what I mean? So those stuff, those kind of things. So for me, applying directly is the best way. Let me give you an example. I applied directly for one job actually, and I also used agents for this same job actually. And the agents kept on telling me, "Oh, we're still waiting for the date. We're still waiting for the date." Whereas I had gotten the date directly on NHS jobs, and I had done my interview. I'd passed my interview. I texted the guy, and I was like, "Oh, we are still waiting for the date." So do you get what I mean? Like,
You
it's
can
better for it to go
imagine this.
directly. Yeah, it's better for it to go directly. If I'd like said, okay, let me just wait for this guy to reply me, yeah, or like to book the interview for me, I would probably have missed the opportunity. Do you get what I mean?
Mhm. Wow, so you can imagine that. Is it true there's a rumor, I don't know how true it is, that if you go through agency, they have a cut from your paycheck, like maybe your
That's
hourly pay. They have a
no, that's
cut
not
from your
true.
hourly pay.
That's not
Oh,
true. That's totally wrong. The agents wouldn't take anything from you. They are not allowed. If any agent is taking something from you, just make sure you run. If you see that there's something shady about the agent, like them even telling you to sign like an agreement about you paying a certain amount to them, or them like deducting a certain amount from you, just run. It means they are scammers, because the trust actually pays the agents. They pay them a lot. I don't want to say the amount, but the trust actually pays the agents a lot for them to recruit just one person. So if they're taking from your salary, that's being greedy.
okay. Maybe probably the reason why agency are kind of is not so fast because maybe pending when they tell the trust, okay, I have candidates, they are waiting for the trust to give them their money. So they are kind of like trying to wait or something like that.
That could
Maybe
be
that's
the
what
reason. It could be the reason, but then in the end, I don't know. It's not like I've not worked as an agent, you get what I mean? So I don't know how it is like for them. But the thing I know is I got to know about this from one recruiter actually that was going to recruit me directly from the hospital. And then she was like, if you had come through an agent, I would have been paying some ridiculous amount of money. But the fact that you came to me directly, you are saving me some cost. Yeah.
wow, that
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
So now this brings us to our next question. So that has to do with, could you share us some of the questions they asked you during your interview? Because I saw you made mention of I was in your live yesterday with
Yeah.
ROCCG Instagram handle, but I didn't pick. I think I heard you talking about sepsis. They were asking you how do you take care of. Please give us some of those questions
Okay,
so that our
so
viewers will get prepared.
um for those questions, most of them are just like general stuff. They will not be like, oh, tell me the part of the they will not ask you like anatomy questions or physiology questions. It's not going to be like that, obviously, no. But they could ask you questions like, what do you do when a patient has an anaphylactic reaction, which is basically allergic reaction? What do you do when that happens? So, I mean, you have to now think in a clinical way, like, okay, I'm going to give epinephrine, blah, 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 and then go into that. But then just as long as you give them the desired answer, their own, like the answer that they desire to hear from you, you are good to go. Also, they could ask you like other clinical questions like, oh, what do you do if you have like a fall patient? So of course, you have to go to your patient, check for their consciousness, do your A to E assessment, which is basically, do you want me to tell you the stuff? But you so you do your A to E assessment, which is basically airway, breathing, circulation, the exposure, and what's the D again? I don't remember. But yeah, you just do your A to E assessment, and then you press your emergency bell, call for other people, those kind of stuff. Call for other people to also help. Make sure that okay, after doing your A to E assessment, you know that patient is okay, and then you can safely move the patient to the bed. Also, they want some tiny, tiny details like, for example, you have to say, will follow the trust procedure about 4 patients. So those kind of stuff, like they want you to be more specific. They want you to also like be considerate about the policies that they have here.
Mm-hmm.
So of course we don't know the policies. We don't know their policies here, right? Because we studied in Poland. But then um you could obviously just look up this stuff online. You see questions about this, you see them online literally. You just Google. I could actually even send you a file as well if you want. So if you want to like
Okay.
attach it, yeah, I could send to you. So you can just like attach it and let people see those sample questions. They could also ask you general questions, like they'll ask you, tell me about yourself. So when they ask you, tell me about yourself, it's not about you to say like, oh, my name is blah 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 blah, I am this age and blah 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 blah, I went to this university. No one cares. No one cares about that. When they tell you, tell me about yourself, they're basically asking you to tell them what you are bringing to the table as a nurse, basically. So, for example, if they ask me, tell me about yourself, I'll probably say, okay, as you already know, my name is Debbie, but I am a nurse from Poland. I'm a student nurse who was just graduated from Poland, and I basically have acquired some clinical skills during my nursing placement in Poland. I was able to do cannulation, venipuncture. I know how to do my ECG reading. So you have to like say those things, because that way you're selling yourself to them and they're like, okay, she can do ECG, tick. She can do venipuncture, tick. She can do cannulation, tick. So they are taking as well. As they're talking, they are taking as well. Like, okay, what can she do? Also, you can say, I am someone that pays attention to details. So that is also something that I'm very particular about, because I want to ensure that I give like the quality care to my patients. Also, you can also say I am a compassionate person, I'm a caring person. Even if it's not in a clinical setting, I'm always there for people. I always care for people. I always ensure that everyone is okay. Those kind of stuff. Do you get me?
Yeah. Well, it's not because you said this. Actually, left to me, you would have asked me, tell me about yourself. I'll start telling you my history, where I
No,
was
no,
born.
no, girl.
Like, you
They're
understand?
just gonna
Like
be
the
like
English
big
from
cross.
that way.
They're just gonna put a big cross,
Wow.
like, okay, we don't care. Like in the end, yeah, when you submit either your CV or you go to NHS to submit your documents, they can see your name, they can see your age, they
Mm-hmm.
can see everything about you. So why are you telling me about your age again? Do you get? You have to like tell them what you have, like the qualities you have. That, oh, I'm a compassionate person. Those stuff like the 6 C's, which is basically like compassionate, caring, communication, competence, commitment, and care. So those stuff they want you to like say like, okay, I'm a caring person, or I am a courageous person. I didn't say that. That's part of the 6 C's. I'm a courageous person. I am competent in my work. Those kind of things. That's what they want
Wow.
you to say. No, you come to say, oh, my name is this, my father is that sticker. I mean, no, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have there been any cases where they ask, maybe probably they did ask you, but other of your friends that must have had interview, have they asked them like drug calculation? Have there been such cases?
Mm,
Yeah,
they won't
interview.
ask you. They won't ask you about drug calculations.
Oh
Basically,
wow.
where you would meet drug calculation is if you are doing CBT or OSCE. Yeah, if you are doing OSCE, you meet the drug calculations, and that's where you are required to do those stuff. But no one come and ask you during interview like, okay, if I have this meal of this, how many mg of this would I give? No, it doesn't work that way. It's just
Okay.
basic stuff. Yeah.
This brings us to our next questions. We saw one of your posts about changes in NMC in terms of the
Getting the
IELTS
code.
and also for the pain. Could you
Yeah.
please and throw more light on that? The IELTS, the changes in the IELTS, instead of combining two results, how can one tell if these two results can be combined?
So about the IELTS, before you could only write just one exam, and then you have to get a band 7 and you submit that. But
Mm-hmm.
then now you can combine two results actually to get your required score, or to meet their requirements. But the required score on a norm is overall of 7. You need to have a minimum of 7 in speaking, minimum of 7 in reading, minimum of 7 in listening, speaking, reading. Yeah, then
Ready.
6.5 minimum in writing. That's what you need to have. But they've made some changes. but it doesn't change the overall score. Don't get it wrong. If you have, for example, the overall score of 7 in one result, and then you have overall score of 7 in the second result, you can combine those results, but ensure that you do not have nothing less than 0.5 less than the required score in the single test, like the writing, the speaking, the reading, and the listening. For example, let's say you get all 7 in the listening, speaking, and the reading, then you now get 6 in the writing. Do you get what I mean? The required score in the writing is 6.5, but you get a 6. But let's say you get an overall of 7. Do you get what I mean? Of course, you cannot get overall of 7 with 6.5, with 6.0. Let's say you get 7.5 in one, 7.5, 7.5, and then 6. Then you have an overall of 7. You can take that result and combine it with another one where you get 6.5 in that writing. So, do you get what I mean? Yes, you have all the results, but you only have a 6 in the writing in the first one. But the other one, you have the 6.5 that they require, and you still have an overall of 7. You can combine those scores, those IELTS together. So make sure that whatever you're combining, let's say you fail in one, make sure you pass it in the other one. That's a better way to
Okay.
put it. Yeah.
This is more like the way they combine results in Nigeria, where they combine two WILEC
I don't know how it
results.
works, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, you will not understand. You will not understand. Okay, yeah.
About the NMC pin, before you could do your verification, which is basically you sending your documents to them here in the UK, like remotely. So you can submit all your documents online, but then they have to do a check as well to confirm if your documents are legit. So you could either come into the UK and then go to the NMC office and submit your documents. After doing that, they'll give you your pin straight away. But what we were able to do in our own set and the previous set, we were able to do like a remote check. So we just combine all our documents, the certificate, your diploma, your IELTS, your what again do you need to combine? Your passport, and then your police clearance report. So you combine all those stuff together and go to the notary office, notarize all your documents and send them a copy. Although you could send your original copy, but it's not advisable because if you get lost, you get lost. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
So people always do the notarized copy and then send the photocopy of the notarized copy. Yeah, the notarized copy to them there. But now they've changed it. You can still do a remote check, but you need to have an employer to verify. So they will send a link to your employer. There's a stage whereby they have to verify through your employer. They will send a link to your employer to verify if you're actually coming to the UK to work for this employer. So when they do that, if the employer confirms that, okay, yes, this person is legit, this person is coming to work for me and all of those stuff, then you can now, they would now tell you that, okay, they've confirmed from your employer as well, then they'll send you your PIN, literally. They'll give you your PIN. Yeah. But
okay.
before, you could get your PIN without an employer. For now, it's different. But let me just say, even though you do the remote check, once you get to the UK, you still have to go and do a face-to-face check. So you still have to go to the
Okay.
NMC office to go and do the face-to-face check. Then they'll be like, okay, yes, we finalized everything. But you can have your PIN before coming in.
Okay, okay, now, okay, that's what has actually changed. Now you need an
Yeah,
employer for you to get your PIN. Unlike previously, you can as well just get your PIN before looking for employers.
yeah. So now you will basically be a band 4 nurse. You are a band 4 nurse without your PIN. You are a band 5 nurse with your PIN. So you basically be a band 4 nurse when you are being interviewed by your interviewer. But after doing the interview and you pass the interview and they're like, okay, we're happy with you, then your employer confirms with NMC, they give you your PIN. But when you're coming into the UK, because you already have a PIN, you're a band 5 nurse.
Okay, yeah. Okay, not bad. That's good. So thank you for that information, Debbie. So that brings us to the next question. Okay, you made mention of you graduate last year, July, and you got a job within duration. Is it within 2 months, 3 months? Because I heard your video the video you made yesterday on
Yeah.
Instagram. You said we can apply from 6 semester even before graduating to kind of like speed up the process. So was
Yeah.
that what you did, or why didn't you do that?
Okay, so I didn't know about it. So this is why I've actually spoken about it in my video on the RCG group yesterday. I didn't know about it, that you could apply for jobs even before graduating. I found out later on that you could do that actually. That's why I've just said it. But for me, I got my job late December or January, one of them. I moved in near February actually. But that's because I decided to take my own time actually. Not because I was taking my time, to be honest. I was actually at home with my family members. So I
Okay.
was doing some other stuff with my documents back in my family's place. So it was something I had to sort out. But I actually got a job. The first time I got a job was in September, but I had to let it go. So the thing is, you can get a job as soon as as soon as you want, basically. So immediately after graduation, just go on the NHS website. And if you also want to use agencies, you can also apply via agencies. They'll get you an interview date. Like, I think in July, they always give out interview dates. Like, they have loads of interview in July, August, September. So you can always do the interview with them. And after 1 month, you can be in the UK. After
Wow.
1 month of the interview, you can be in the UK. Literally. It doesn't
Pending
take.
when you pass the IELTS. The IELTS is
Yeah,
always the
so
hardest
if you
part.
pass your IELTS, once you've passed your IELTS, even if, well, you can pass your IELTS in your fifth semester, or
Mm-hmm.
early sixth semester, the first, let's say, first month of your sixth semester, you can pass your IELTS. But the thing is, you might not be able to get a job if you use an agent, but you can go on NHS website. I'm not sure about getting a job using an agent in your fifth or your sixth semester, but I would say go on NHS website, search for staff nurse, and put
Mm-hmm.
any location, or just leave the location part empty, but search for staff nurse or newly qualified. Yeah, search for newly qualified nurses. That would be better actually. So when you click on the options that you have, make sure you read in between the lines as well to see if they've stated that they can interview you before your graduation, because some of them actually write it in the description that they can interview you before your graduation. You only need to get a reference letter from your supervisor and you get a job. So
Okay.
you get the job before your graduation, and then afterwards you can now upload all your certificates.
Okay, the supervisor you're talking about, can it be any lecturer in the university that have taught someone in the past, or it must be your project supervisor?
Any lecturer from your department. Could be your anatomy teacher, it could be your physiology teacher,
Okay.
anyone. Doesn't have to
Okay.
be your supervisor for your thesis, no.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Since you got the job direct, were you given options to, is there anything like signing contracts, or since it's NHS job, you can decide to like walk away in the next 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, or is it 1 year minimum and notice you can give to them that you want to resign?
Um, okay, so since I got the job directly, I'm not tied to them, but then
Mm.
they've given me my certificate of sponsorship. So they've sponsored me to the UK, and they've given me, so I have like a 3 years thingy visa in here. Do you get what I mean? But then it's not like it's not like I'm tied to them for the 3 years. If let's say after 1 year I'm like I'm not happy with where I am and I want to move somewhere else, I could just get another employer that will give me the certificate of sponsorship, and I do not have to pay my trust back for anything. Yeah.
Okay.
But then I feel like it's not fair for you to just leave like after 1 month or 2 months, or even if you're not happy, at least like try to push through a little bit.
Mhm.
But in the end, you could leave after 1 year. You could leave whenever actually. If you apply directly, you don't have to pay anything. But if you go through agents, they'll tell you you have 3 years contracts. If you leave in the space of 1 year, you pay 100% of whatever they've done, the cost that they've covered for you. If you live between the space of like 2 years, you pay 50%. Third year, 25%. But after the third year, you pay zero. So
Mm.
could be crazy.
That's crazy. For those working in the UK, which city do you think it's better? I won't say like 100%. better.
Yeah.
But for a new grad nurse, which city do you think is easier to get a job as a new grad nurse and be able to like cope with the system?
Um, so this question actually depends on what you want, to be honest. Depends on what you want as a nurse. So, for example, if you want a social life, I would say choose anywhere in England, but also consider the costs of wherever you're going to. For example, if you're going to London, you know that
Mm-hmm.
you are going to pay through your nose.
Yeah.
Like bills will cut you off literally. Like you probably paying like 800 for just one room in London. If you go to a place like Southampton as well, which is also very expensive, you probably paying 800 for just a room. But then
Mm-hmm.
if you go to Scotland, you could get like a two-bedroom for like 650, 700, two-bedroom. So I would say consider Scotland. Also, one other place I would say you should consider is Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is actually very easy to access if you are going to a hospital there. I did interviews actually for Northern Ireland, and I know that for Northern Ireland, they've got a different system when it comes to their interview. They only ask you three questions, and three questions it is. Just three questions. They ask you three clinical questions, and you have to just make sure you say everything that you have in your head because they keep on taking and taking and taking. Okay, if you said this and if you said that, but if you miss something, yeah. I know you have to get
Okay.
like, I think you have to get 70% to pass the interview, but they ask you three questions, just three questions. And one reason why I would say Northern Ireland is because it is actually cheap. But like I said, if you want a social life, I would not advise you to go there.
That
So
means social life there is zero, nothing to write home about.
I wouldn't say it's zero because I don't want people to come for me. I wouldn't say it's zero, but I mean, personally, I wouldn't consider Northern Ireland because I mean, I'm a Gen Z generation. I want to have fun. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I understand.
yeah. If you stay in England as well, you could choose places like Sheffield, where again is cheap. Like, there are some places that are cheap as well, Hertfordshire as well. Some places that are cheap in England, whereby you can pay like 500, 600 for like a room apartment, just a self-contained apartment. And
Mm.
yeah, so it just depends. Just make sure that when you're searching for a place, make sure you check the cost of living in the place. Let me also tell you one thing. In Scotland, the government has actually decided to increase their pay by 6.5%. I didn't tell you this.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so if you go to Scotland, you get the 6.5% increase. Some of my friends are there now, they're like,
Wow.
yeah, but people
Wow.
in England, they're giving us 5% increase, but then we still have the chance to decide. It has not been decided yet. So they're still like, oh, should we take it or not? But anyway, there is God. I mean, England is more expensive, so you expect them to give them more increase
Mhm.
for the increase to be more. But then, yeah. So if you like yourself or if you like money, you can go to Scotland. There's a 6%, 6.5% increase.
Wow, that's good. It's not bad. Now let's talk about the Husky. So now
Yes.
you being that you're now in UK, you've been working for like let's say 3 months now. Let's just say 2 months now. So
Mm.
when are you slated to schedule for your Husky? Or is it that you can do that at your own will or you must do it at a certain time?
So about that, for EU trained nurses, you are exempted from writing OSCE and CBT. So all you
Wow.
need to write is IELTS. Pass your IELTS and comment. I didn't write OSCE, I didn't write CBT, so we're exempted. Although I do not know how long this is going to last for, but to the best of my knowledge, you do not need to write OSCE, neither do you need to write CBT exam. And it still stands as at now because I've checked the NMC website as well. Because some of my friends actually asked me about this. I also had to like check the NMC website to like confirm for them as well, and it's still valid. You don't have to write OSCE or CBT. So get in there as soon as
Hallelujah.
you can.
Most times I was thinking like immediately we get into UK or Ireland or anywhere, Scotland, anywhere. Then
No,
maybe
baby girl.
after they employed you as a new nurse, maybe you work like
Yeah.
6 months, so you schedule for Husky. So I was like, okay, when will I schedule for my Husky? Maybe I'll be like confident to go for my Husky maybe after 8 months or 7 months. That was what I was planning. I didn't know we actually don't need that Husky at all. So I think maybe those are for those
Coming
trained
from
outside
probably
the EU.
Africa, people coming from Asia, yeah, but
Okay.
from EU, you don't have to.
Wow. Wow, that's cool. Thank you so much for that information. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So now, any regrets so far being in UK? Any regrets so far in terms of like your application process or maybe accommodation or maybe
Mm,
working in the hospital? Let us know your regrets so far.
to be honest, I don't regret anything. I do not regret my journey at all.
Okay.
Probably I don't regret anything because I like where I'm in right now. I love my hospital. I love the department I'm in. I love the people I'm around as well. I love the environment as well. So I have no regrets so far. But I don't know, maybe in the nearest future I might. But right now I have no regrets whatsoever. Everything has just worked out the way I wanted it to. Like even the place where I'm working in, I'm like I enjoy working here as well. So no regrets.
Okay, so this brings us to the last question. Any final advice for those in Europe, Poland precisely, planning to come to UK this year, next year? What advice do you have for them?
My advice would be, so I've got loads of advice to give actually, but my advice would be
Come
if you are applying, yeah, I will. If you are applying directly, make sure you look out for university hospitals or teaching hospitals because I'm also in one and I know how much I'm learning there. Like some days they schedule you for like um lecture days, like they schedule you for like some trainings. So I mean they give you they give you some materials as well to read as well. So it's kind of like you're in school and you're also working, although they pay for it as well. Like the days where you're doing your training, they pay for it as well. So don't think you're doing it for free. So make sure you go to teaching hospital and university hospitals because those ones they literally teach you and they give you time to also become independent. So they don't leave you alone. But then if you go to other ones that are not university hospitals or teaching hospitals, well, I'm not going to say anything about it. I don't want
on.
you to be thrown into the ward or whichever department you're going to go to with you feeling like I'm not even ready for this. I don't even know what I'm doing here because the hospital is actually a very crazy place. You do not want to be left alone. You do not want to be
Mhm.
left alone. So make sure you look for university hospital or teaching hospital. Well, if you do not get these offers, I mean, you have to settle for whatever you get. But I would say make
Mhm.
sure you look for those. Also, let no one put think or how do I say this? Let no one put fear in you about IELTS. IELTS is not difficult. IELTS is easy. Okay, I would not say easy before people come for me, but IELTS is not difficult. You speak English, girl, go write the English. You pass. Yeah. So I mean, IELTS is not difficult at all. Also, make sure you write your IELTS like give yourself like let me say minimum 3 months before you graduate. Write your IELTS 3 months before you graduate, or like 4 months before you graduate, so that you can be able to start doing the documentation. You can start your NMC process and all of those stuff, and you can get your job early as well. I mean, you also have let me not forget to tell you this. You also have just 6 months to be able to be considered a newly qualified nurse. So the UK will only consider you a newly qualified nurse after you graduate and after you've like what am I saying? Sorry, if you have a gap year of 6 months. So if you're
Mhm.
at home for more than 6 months after your graduation, they'll start questioning you. They'll start asking you, what postgraduate experience do you have? And they would be asking you, okay, you've been at home doing what? Like they want to know exactly what you've been doing because they believe that if you graduate after 6 months, let's say like you stay at home for a year or you do whatever for a year, they believe that you've forgotten the skills that you've learned. So I mean, you
Mhm.
could get a job in the care home, but
Mhm.
yeah, you get what I mean. Also, I would say depending on what you want, yeah, you could either go to the care home or go to the hospital. The care home pays more, hospital
Mm-hmm.
pays less. But if you want to become a proper nurse, as a newly qualified nurse, if you want quality training, go to the hospital. Later on,
Oh,
you can do agency shifts and get more money. But if you go to care home, you might be killing your career. So let's not
okay.
think about money initially. Let's think about being
Yeah.
successful and
Career
being the
progress.
best nurse and career progress. Also, NHS actually even pays for your let's say you want to get your masters, NHS could sponsor you for that as well. So why not work with NHS? There are many benefits with working with NHS. I will talk about it on my own channel so people can come.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So, guys, please, if you want to know more about NHS, she's vast in that, how to get job on your own, because I've not tried that process. So she has done it. So she's very, very good at that. Please run to her channel. You're gonna get more details on that. Hopefully,
Thank you.
get to invite you in future. Yes.
Hopefully, maybe I would have some tips later on again because I always like giving
Yeah.
that information. I'm good at that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
So
thank
guys,
you.
this brings us to the end of this video. Like I said, if you want to know more, if you have personal questions, check out Debbie's channel and also check out her Instagram handle. So she is always there to answer you. So she's not like other YouTuber that takes forever to reply DMs. She replies DMs. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that is all for now. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.